Welcome back to On the Same Page. We are on Daf Chaf Aleph Amud Aleph 21a of Maseches Taanis. We are 3 lines from the bottom of the page. Towards the very beginning of the line, it quotes the Mishnah. The quote is Ezehu Dever. What is considered a dever, a pestilence, or a plague? Really, it's talking about people. And the context is that the Mishnah said that if there's dever ba'ir, if you have a city that has a kind of plague going on, then the Mishnah said that they would immediately begin to fast and to blow a shofar and go through all the stringencies of the later fast, the 7 final fasts that were the most stringent. So if there was dever in the city, ir sheyesh ba dever, so then they would immediately fast and blow shofar, as would nearby cities. The nearby cities would only either blow shofar but not fast, or fast but not blow shofar. That was a dispute in the Mishnah, but the city itself that had dever would do both. And the Mishnah said that what's considered a situation of dever, Ezehu dever, Ir hamotzia chamesh meos ragli. It's a city of a size that it produces 500 infantry. So it's large enough that you have 500 young, strong men there. And a city of that size, v'yatzu mimena gimel mesim b'gimel yamim ze'achar zeh. Within 3 consecutive days, 3 people die from this dever, so 1 a day for 3 days straight. So that's considered that they have dever, and I believe amongst those young men, even though they're strong, they die. So that's an indication that this is a serious plague, and they need to take it seriously and start fasting. So that's what the Gemara quotes: a zohi dever. What's considered dever? Ir hamotzia chamesh meos ragli chulei. A city of 500 infantry where you have 1 person dying each day for 3 consecutive days. So now the Gemara is going to bring a brisa that talks about what if it's a larger city. So it's the same ratio. Tanu Rabban, and the rabbis taught, Ir hamotzia, or some of a version, Ir gedola, a large city, hamotzia chamesh meos v'alef ragli, a city that's 3 times as large as what we just discussed. It produces 1,500 infantry, it has 1,500 young, strong men. Kigon Kfar Akko, for example, Kfar Akko, the city of Akko. V'yatzu heimena tisha mesim b'shlosha yamim ze'achar zeh. If 9 people die over 3 days, 3 a day for 3 days, hareza dever, that's considered dever. That's a plague that they need to fast and blow shofar for. But if it's biyom echad, but if they all 9 die on the same day, oh, bedal yamim, or it takes more than 3 days for 9 to die, it takes 4 days, ein ze dever, it's not considered dever. If they all die on 1 day, so then we say, okay, there was 1 bad day. It's if you have a 3 day straight where 3 die, that's a problem. But if all die in 1 day, we say it was 1 bad day. And if it takes 4 days, then it's not, it hasn't reached the level where it's so bad that they need to engage in this fasting. V'ir hamotzia chamesh meos ragli. And now we talk about what the Mishnah talks about, a city that has 500 infantry. Kigon Kfar Amiko, like the city of Amiko. V'yatzu mimena shlosha mesim b'gimel yamim, and 3 people die over 3 days, so 1 a day for 3 straight days. Ze'achar zed, right, straight days, harei zed dever, that is considered dever, and they would fast and blow shofar. But if it's biyom echad, top of the next page, if it's biyom echad, o b'arba yamim, but if it's only on 1 day that 3 people die, or if it is over 4 days, a longer stretch, ein ze dever, that is not considered dever. Says the Gemara, Derukart, ir hamotzia chamesh meos ragli hava. Derukart was a city that was of a size that had produced 500 infantry. V'yatzu mimena shlosha mesim biyom echad, and 3 people died on 1 day, which we just learned in the brisa. If that would occur, then you are not to fast. You need 3 people over 3 days, 1 a day for 3 days. And yet, Gazer Rav Nachman bar Rav Chisda Taanisa. The Gemara recounts that Rav Nachman, the son of Rav Chisda, decreed a fast. So Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, so a different Rav Nachman. That was Rav Nachman, the son of Rav Chisda. And now Rav Nachman, the son of Yitzchak, says to him, Kiman, who are you going like that you say that if they all die on one day you should still fast? Seemingly you're going like Reb Meir, you're going like Reb Meir de Amar, who says, Richek nigichosav chayav, kirev nigichosav lo kol shekain. If an ox gores 3 times over 3 days, then the owner is chayav, is obligated, full damages. So kirev nigichosav lo kol shekain, if he did all 3 in one day, if they were close to each other, all the more so. That is the opinion of Rabbi Meir. What's it talking about? So we learn in Maseches Baba Kama about the goring ox, that an ox that has not gored more than 3 times, or has not gored 3 times, is a tam. It's considered a simple ox. It's not expected to gore, and therefore, if it does and does damage, we're not talking about killing a person here, but if it does damage, it kills an animal or damages an animal. So if it's less than 3 times, the owner only has to pay half damages. However, because it wasn't expected, it wasn't his fault, it was sort of a fluke that his animal did this, but yet we still fine him in any event to pay half damages. However, once it's a muad, once it's gored 3 times and it's expected, then we raise the expectation on the owner to guard his animal, and then if the animal damages, he pays full damage. So the way the Torah describes it is that it gored yesterday and the day before. So now if it gores, it's a muad. So on the 3rd time, seemingly it becomes a muad. That's exactly, because the 3rd time, the 4th time is the question. But let's say for now, after 3 times, it's now a muad. And that's if it gored 2 days ago, yesterday, and today. That's what seems to be described in the pasuk, in the verse. However, Rabbi Meir says, if it gored 3 times over 3 days, then we call it a muad. So certainly if it gores all 3 times in one day, we should call it a muad, and it should be required to pay full damages. So Rav Nachman bar Rav Chisda, Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, Rav Nachman the son of Yitzchak, said to the other Rav Nachman, I see where you're coming from, that you say that if 3 people die in one day, they should fast and blow shofar, because if we say when 3 people die over 3 days, we say that, then certainly we should say it when 3 people die in one day, we should say that you fast and blow shofar. However, it seems, the Gemara doesn't say, but neither of these are correct, or neither of these are the halacha. We don't paskin like Rabbi Meir with regard to this. Rather, it needs to be over 3 days for the animal to become a muad. And as we see in the Brisa, it takes 3 days. 3 people have to die over 3 days. The Brisa is explicit. If they all die in one day, then we don't fast and blow shofar. So seemingly, this decision of Reb Nachman bar Rav Chisda to decree a fast was not going in accordance with the popular opinion. So after this little conversation, Amar le Reb Nachman bar Rav Chisda le Reb Nachman bar Yitzchak. So Reb Nachman the son of Rav Chisda said to Reb Nachman the son of Yitzchak, he saw that he was very wise, he had discerned where he was coming from, he seemed very learned. He said, Leikumar leisi legaban. You should move to where we live, because where you live, the people are not so upstanding, and it's not such an honorable place for you to live. You should come and live where we are. You're such a great Talmid Chacham, such a great scholar, you should come to us. Amar le, so Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, who, like we saw, he knew his stuff, so he said back, no, I have a brisa that indicates otherwise. The brisa says, Rabbi Yossi Omer, Rabbi Yossi says, Lo mekomo shel adam mechabdo. It's not the place where a person lives that brings them honor. Ella adam mechabed es mekomo. It's a person who brings honor to the place that he lives. So it doesn't matter what the place that I live is like. That's not what brings honor to a person. It's the person that brings honor to the place. So it's fine if I'm in a place that doesn't bring me such honor. Anyways, if anything, I bring honor to the place, right? humbly he says this, but he says, just because the place isn't an honorable place to live, that's not a reason for me to leave. It's not the place that gives honor, it's the person. Shekei matzino b'Har Sinai. We find this is the case with regards to Har Sinai, Mount Sinai. Shekol zman she'ashchina shruya alav. Because as long as God's presence rested there, Amra Torah, the Torah says, Gamatzong v'habakar al yiru amul aharahu. The people shouldn't come close, and the animals shouldn't be allowed to come close and graze on the mountain. However, that was while the Shekhinah, while Hashem's presence resting on the mountain. But Nistalka Shekhinah mimena, but once the Shekhinah leaves, once the presence of God leaves the mountain, Amra Torah, the Torah says, Bimshocha yovel heima yalu b'har. When you hear the long blasting of the shofar, announcing that the presence of God is leaving the mountain, so then, then they're allowed back onto the mountain. Because the mountain itself isn't what is honor. When God's presence is there, it's honored. But the place itself has no intrinsic honor to it. And once God leaves, then the animals and the people can all come back on the mountain. And we find the same thing with regards to the tent of meeting, the Mishkan, in the desert. Shekozmanchu natoi amra Torah. As long as it was built, it was planted there, the Torah says, then if somebody would contract tsaras, right, the biblical leprosy, tsaras, so then they're tameh, they're virtually impure, and then they have to leave the camp. However, hugulu paroches, but once the paroches, the curtain that was in front of the Holy of Holies, the Kodesh HaKadoshim. In other words, once the Mishkan is taken down, Hutru Zavenu V'Mitzrayim Likanei Sham. Now, the impure are allowed to enter the camp. If one was a Zav, which is the impurity that comes from certain types of bodily emissions, as well as a Mitzorah, someone who has Tsaras, so they're allowed to come into the camp. Because it's not the camp itself that has intrinsic honor or holiness. When the Mishkan is set up and God's presence is there, then it has holiness. But when it leaves, then there's no holiness to it. So again, Rav Nachman, the son of Yitzchak, was telling the other Rav Nachman that it's not the place that's honorable, it's the person. Or, we see God brings honor, and a person could bring honor too, but the place itself has no intrinsic honor. So there's no reason for me to leave the place where I dwell. So the other Rav Nachman said, Amar le ihachi, so if that's true, ekum ana ve'ezel legabe mar. Let me get up and travel to you. I see that there's so much to learn from you. If you don't think you should come to me, then I'm going to come to you. Amar le, so now Rav Nachman, the son of Yitzchak, says back, maybe not. Maybe if anything, I should come to you. Mutav yavo maneh ben pras, etzel maneh ben maneh, ve'al yavo maneh ben maneh, etzel maneh ben pras. It's better that a maneh, the son of a half a maneh is a monetary amount. It's better that a maneh, who's the son of a half a maneh, should come to a maneh who's the son of a full maneh, rather than that the maneh, the son of the full maneh, should come to the maneh who's only the son of a half a maneh. In other words, Rav Nachman, the son of Yitzchak, is saying to Rav Nachman, the son of Rav Chisda, he's saying, my father is just Yitzchak. He's not Rav Yitzchak. My father was just a Yitzchak. He wasn't as great as of a Talmud Chacham, of a scholar, as your father, who was Rav Yitzchak, who had smicha, who was ordained and was a great scholar. So therefore, since you have better yichus, you have a better line, so you have a certain advantage, or a certain chashivas, a certain specialness to you, and therefore, if anything, if there's any Rav Nachman that's going to be traveling, it should be me that's going to you, because I'm the son of just a simple man. I'm the son of Yitzchak, and I'm like a maneh, the son of half a maneh, but you are a maneh, the son of a full maneh, because you are the son of Rav Chisda, and therefore, if anything, I should be traveling to you. Now, if anyone ended up traveling, Gemara doesn't tell us if anyone moved, but that was the conversation that they had. The Gemara continues, we're 5 lines down in the wide lines, towards the beginning of the line. It says, Besura havas divarta b'shivavusai dirav. Havas divarta. Excuse me. In Surah, in the city of Surah, there was dever, there was a plague. But b'shivavusa de Rav havas divarta. But within the neighborhood that Rav lived, within Surah, there wasn't a plague. So throughout the city there was, except for in Rav's neighborhood. So savru minei mishum zechuse de Rav dinafish. The people assumed, they thought that why is there no plague in Rav's neighborhood? It's because Rav has great merit. That's probably why there's no plague. But ischazi luhu bechilma. But there was a vision that appeared to them in a dream, the people who thought this, the people of the town, and it said, Rav dinafisha zechuse tuva hamilsa zutrale. Rav, whose merit is very great, so this is a small matter to him. Zutrale l'Rav, and seemingly this has nothing to do with Rav, that there is no plaguing his neighbor. That's a small matter for his merit. Ela mishum ahu gavra deshayo mara uzavila lekvura shayo mara uzavila lekvura. You know why there's no plague in this neighborhood? It's for a simple man. There's a simple man who lends out his hoe and his shovel for the burial of the dead. And that act of chesed on its own is what's fending off the plague here. And there's a midah connecting midah here. There's a measure for measure. Like he helps the dead, he lends his tools to bury the dead, and therefore the plague is not occurring within his neighborhood. Now, what does it mean that Rav's merit is so great that this is just a small thing for him? So there's different interpretations, but the one that I saw that I thought I liked was from the Binayahu, who says that Rav's merit is so great that there wouldn't be plague in the city at all because of Rav's merit. But the people weren't deserving of it. He says because of the way they treated Rav, they didn't give him the proper respect, and therefore if they didn't respect him, so they didn't earn his merit. Had it been because of Rav's merit, the whole city would have been saved. But they didn't deserve his merit, and therefore, but this one neighborhood still had merit because of this one fellow who was very generous with lending out his hoe and his shovel for burying the dead. The Gemara brings another similar story. It says, "B'derukar tavas delikta." In this place, Derukart, there was, I guess, a fire that I guess was very damaging. Uveshivavuse de Rav Huna lohavas delikta. But in Rav Huna's neighborhood, there was no fire. So Savra Mina, they thought, Bezechusa de Rav Huna dinafish. Why was there no fire in Rav Huna's neighborhood? Probably because of Rav Huna's great merit. But again, Ischazi Guhu Bechilma, there was a vision that these people who thought this had. They had a dream, and it said, Hai Zutrale Rav Huna. This is small for Rav Huna. And you could say the same idea that had it been because of Rav Huna's merit, the whole city would have been saved from fire. But they weren't deserving of it because of the way that they didn't have proper respect for Rav Huna. However, why did this neighborhood get saved? Alamishuma itza. There was a certain woman in this neighborhood. Dimechamemes tanura. She would light up her oven. Umeshayli l'shivavusi, and she would let her neighbors use it. She would lend it to her neighbors, and therefore she shared her fire, and therefore that particular neighborhood of the city was saved from fire. Gemara says, Amr Leila Rav Yehuda Asu Kamsi. The people told Rav Yehuda, there's another story, they said, Asu Kamsi. Kamsi here is a type of locust. Locusts have come. So Gazar Taanis, he decreed a fast. Locusts, okay, we gotta fast so they don't destroy all our food. Amrulay, they said to him, Lo kamifsadan. They're not damaging us, so why are you decreeing a fast? So Amar Lahu, he said to them, Zavda aisu bahadayu. Did they bring food with them? Did they bring a care package for the way with them? They may not be eating our food yet, but they're going to. So therefore we should start fasting now. Amr Leil Rav Yehuda, another similar story. They said to Rav Yehuda, Ikka Musna b'chaziri. The pigs are dying. Because it wasn't Jews raising pigs, but there were, I guess, either wild pigs or other people raising pigs. And they said they're dying. So Gazar Taanisa, so he decreed a fast. Why? What's wrong with the pigs dying? So the Gemara thinks, Nema kasavar Rav Yehuda maka mishulachas mimin echad mishulachas mikol aminin. Maybe it's because Rav Yehuda holds that if you have a contagious disease in one species, so it spreads to other species as well. And that's why he was concerned and he decreed a fast. Says the Gemara, look, no, in general, we don't assume that. But Shani Chaziri didamyan me'ayu livnei inshi. Specifically, he was concerned with pigs, because pigs have a similar type of stomach to humans. And specifically, he was concerned that a disease could spread from a pig to a human, and that's why he decreed a fast. But in general, he wasn't concerned that disease spreads from one species to another. Amr le l'Shmuel Ika Mosna Bechozai. They told Shmuel there's a plague of some sort in Chozai, which was another city in Bavel. So Gazar Taanisa, he decreed a fast. Amru le b'ham merchak. He said, what are you worried about? It's very far away. What are you worried about? Why are you decreeing a fast? Amar, Shmuel said, Leka ma'abra hacha de pasikle. He said, there's no crossing here that can block it. Meaning, there's, I guess if there was a river in between, then fine, but there's no river, and this disease can travel over land. I think Rashi has a different reading of that. Rashi says, the way Rashi has it is v'chima abra pasikle. Can a ferry stop it? Meaning, this is a plague. It travels. It spreads. And you think a simple ferry or some other type of barrier will stop it? No. So therefore, even though it's far away, I'm concerned that it will travel here, and therefore, says Shmuel, I'm decreeing a fast. Amr Leiler of Nachman Ika Mosna Ba'ar di Yisrael. They told Rav Nachman there's a plague in Eretz Yisrael. He was in Bavel, in Babylonia. They told him there's a plague in Israel. Gazar Taanisa, he decreed a fast. Amar, because he said, Im Gevira Loka Shifcha Loko Shekain. If the woman, the master woman, is being stricken, Eretz Yisrael, which is more honored, more chashuv than Bavel, is being stricken, Shifcha Loko Shekain, the maidservant all the more so. So if Eretz Yisrael is getting hit, I'm concerned with Bavel. Says the Gemara, Taima de Gevira v'Shifcha. It sounds like he's only concerned because the Gevira, the master woman, the mistress, got stricken. So he's concerned now that something lowlier, the servant, will also get stricken. If Israel got stricken, then Bavel could also get stricken. Ha Shifcha v'Shifcha lo. But if it was just two shifchas, two maidservants from one to another, it seems he wouldn't have been concerned. But we just learned a story that they told Shmuel Ikamosna Bechozai. There's a plague in Chozai, which was another city in Bavel. Shmuel was in Neherda, one city in Bavel. There was a plague in another city, and Shmuel was concerned, even though they're both the status of maidservants, right? If one was the mistress, then you should be concerned that it will go to the maidservant. If the more chashuv thing gets hit with the plague, then the less chashuv, the less honored thing could get hit with the plague. But these are two cities in Bavel, so why was Shmuel concerned? So the Gemara explains, Shani Hasam, that's different. Kimadika Shairasa de Levai Asya Bade. That's different because there's caravans that go back and forth between Chozai and Neherda. There's regular caravans going back and forth, and therefore he was concerned of it spreading. But normally distant places, he wouldn't have been concerned. The Gemara continues, it says, Abba Umna hava asile shalma mesifta derakia kol yama. Abba Umna, Abba, the craftsman, this particular craft that it refers to, the Umna is the bloodletter. In those days, they would use bloodletting as a medical technique, something that we don't use nowadays, certainly doesn't work nowadays. Perhaps it was more, we have this concept in the Shtanu Ativayim, that people's makeup has changed over the years, so perhaps in those days, this was something that was effective. That's a general question about Chazal's understanding of science and hotly debated topic. But they used to use bloodletting, and so Abba Umna had this merit that every day he would receive a greeting, like a baskol, a heavenly voice that would greet him from the Mesifta Derakia, from the heavenly yeshiva. Ula Abaye kol mali yoma de Shabsa. Abaye got it every Friday. L'Rava kol mali yoma de Kippurim. Rava got it once a year, every Erev Yom Kippur. So Abba Umna got it every day. Abaye got it once a week on Friday, and Rava got it once a year on Erev Yom Kippur. The special greeting from the Mesifta Derakia, the heavenly yeshiva. Habakachal shadaite de Abaye mishum de Abba Umna. Abaye was weakened because he was saddened because of Abba Umna. He didn't understand, why does Abba Umna get it every day and I get it only once a week? So they told him, Lo matzis l'me'abav k'ubde. You can't live up to what he does. If only you knew what Abba Umna does. So the Gemara says, what exactly? What did Abba the Umna, the bloodletter, do that was so great? First of all, when he did his work, bloodletting, he would put the men in one place and the women in another. He kept it separate, out of concerns for tznius, for modesty, and so that they're not seeing each other. V'isle levusha, not only that, but he had a piece of clothing. It had a corner that was slit, the size of the whatever he used for the bloodletting, and the tube that he used for bloodletting. And and when a woman would come, he would put this over her so he wouldn't have to look at her uncovered. She would be covered, and there was just an opening for him to do the bloodletting. That was another thing. So he was very concerned about tznius, about modesty, and about how he dealt very carefully with women in his work. So first of all, he had separate spaces for men and women, and not only that, but when a woman would come, he would have special clothing for her to wear, so that he could do his job of letting her blood without revealing her skin. Not only that, ve'isbe duchta ditznia deshadi be pshiti deshakel. So not only that, but he had a hidden place where people would put their payment. De'isle shadi be. If somebody had money, they would pay. They would drop money in his coin box to pay him. De'lesle lil michsif. If somebody didn't have, they weren't embarrassed that they couldn't pay him. He let them off without paying. And this way, though, they wouldn't be embarrassed if they don't pay. And you would never know who paid, who didn't. You just would empty the money back at the end of the day. And when a Torah scholar would come, he wouldn't take any payment from his Torah scholar. And not only that, but when the Torah scholar would leave, he would actually give him money, and he would say, go and strengthen your health. And you give him some money, I guess, to go out and buy a snack after having your bloodlet. You need to get some energy. Go buy an energy bar, a Gatorade, and be on your way. So these were the merits. These were the deeds of Abba Umna that made him deserving of having a heavenly voice come to him daily from the Mesifta Derakia, the heavenly yeshiva. Thank you for listening.